Hi, my name's Morag, and thanks for asking me to come on and do 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so some people will know me and some won't. And what I want to talk today about is my two loves. Again, one people might know about, and the other less likely. Okay, so basically, I'm a fully qualified accountant and I run my own small business called Northwest Numbers Limited. I've been in love with numbers since as long as I can remember. I've always enjoyed maths, and according to my mum, I used to count patterns on walls and tiles. I know it seems a bit weird, but somehow I can imagine myself doing that. Mum's also said that I became an accountant because my favourite uncle was a chartered accountant. I don't know if that's the case or not. It's a possibility. So I went through high school, and because I've always been good at numbers, I decided to do bookkeeping, O grades, and hires. That's what we do in Scotland. I know it's different in England. And then I went on to do an accountancy degree. But at the time, I was married to a policeman who had got invalided out of the police force. And it was a bit difficult to study and do everything because I was trying to work full time as well. So I ran out of time. I got time barred for that. But later on, I started a restart. Well, I then changed over to ACCA, which is Chartered Accountant. Okay. So basically, when I started in my career, I did the kind of normal things that anybody would do. So I was basically doing audits in accountancy practice, which was okay, but it wasn't really doing anything for me. And to be honest, after I had to do 3 years, kind of like well, as I said, I got time barred. I had 4 years to do it. Had to do 3 year practical before I could have even thought about. Well, I would have had to have done 3 years practical to qualify regardless. So after the 3 years, as I said, I still hadn't actually qualified, but I thought, no, there's got to be more to this. So after my husband was invalided out, we moved up to Yorkshire, and I joined a company where we did what's called brown paper bags. I don't know if you've ever heard that saying. So basically, that's where small businesses, a lot of time it was things like stall holders, etc. at a market, but it doesn't have to be small businesses basically would put all of their receipts and bank statements and everything else that they thought we would need into a brown paper bag, which is why we called them brown paper bag jobs. And so we would have to take all of that information and make sense of it, make a set of accounts for it basically. So then eventually, though, I went through manufacturing for a couple of years, but eventually I joined an organisation called Community Accountancy Services, and they were kind of an accountancy practice, but they specialised in voluntary sector, charities, etc. And I knew once I got there that I'd kind of I had found where I felt right. I had found my kind of home, my niche. I love making the idea of making a difference, helping you get through those kind of number barriers that people have, because if it's not, I mean, some people are just blind to numbers, and it's just not everybody's forte. So I've actually done, in some respects, sometimes the organisations that I worked with, I kind of done myself out of work because I've shown them how to do it, so they didn't need me anymore. But we also did payrolls and budgets and etc. etc. So as I said, yeah, the fact that I was helping people as well, that was where my niche was. So and then I was making a difference as well through helping the people themselves, obviously, do their own booking record, but also feeling like I was making a difference to their clients. So that's why I'm staying down on the kind of small side of organisations, because you can get more of an idea of what the client is about. You can build more of a relationship, etc. And therefore, that's why I set up my business last year. Although I've had 20 years plus in charities and social sector out of my 34 years experience, I decided it was time for me to actually try and make the difference to those that can't necessarily afford a whole accountant to themselves, but can afford some time with a professional. So that's kind of how I got into my accountancy and why I set up my business. The thing that folk don't necessarily know about me is that in my leisure time, I like to do arts and crafts. In particular, I like to make handmade cards, and I've actually got a website where I try to sell them just to get the costs back. But basically, I find it's very relaxing, and it lets me use my creative side. You know, the kind of like the other side of my brain. I mean, I know there is a side of using, there are ways of using creative side in accountancy, but it's different, and I'm not really allowed to do creative accounting. That's kind of not, it's not entirely. When folk talk about creative accounting, they're usually talking about something that's a little bit more illegal. So I'm not into that at all. So yeah, so when I'm doing my arty crafty stuff, that's where I'm using my imagination, my colours, and kind of like it helps me relax after I've been doing kind of like a lot of numbers and stressy work. So I hope that's given you a bit of an introduction into me. If you want to get in touch, I'd love to hear from you. I do bookkeeping, accountancy, payroll, setting up budgets, etc. And of course, I've got my got a whole load of resource videos called 3 Minutes with Morag, where I've basically set up. I'm trying to demystify and simplify accounting terms and procedures. Those are set up on one of my Facebook groups. So at any point you could kind of go and have a look there, see if there's anything that you've always wanted to know the answer to. Things like what's the difference between bookkeeping and accountancy, etc. I still show them. I still do a video every Wednesday at about 1 o'clock on my Facebook group. So yeah, if I can help you with anything, so that's kind of the idea of what I do, etc. So if you want to get in touch, I'm quite happy to do an initial consultation, no hard sell, etc. And you can book that through Facebook or by sending me an email to accounts@northwestnumbersltd.co.uk. I live in Bury, and basically I cover the Northwest. I hope that's given you a bit of an idea of what I do, and I'd love to be able to get in contact with any of you, even if it's just for a chat, whether it's about accountancy or anything. If anybody, if you're interested in getting in contact, that'd be great. Take care.